Okay, first let me begin by underlining the caveat about my failures as a father, vastly outnumbering my successes before my son does that. There are many areas of fatherhood where I'm all too aware of being underqualified, of not striking the right note, of not getting it right. The second thing I'd like to say is that the role of Christian dad cannot be separated in my experience from the role of Christian mother. Joint agreement on the principles of parenting, even though the precise way that we handle individual issues may differ quite a lot, but the agreement is an essential prerequisite for Christian parenting. So when I say I also mean our in the next 6 minutes. Reflecting then on my almost 17 years of fatherhood, I still feel grossly underqualified to comment, but 4 overarching principles have shaped my parenting. As we've brought up our children, something we've tried to help them develop more is their character. We're not asking them to be brain surgeons or looking for them to be super popular among their friends, to be brilliant athletes or dancers or musicians or whatever. In other words, not like myself. There's nothing wrong with trophies, awards and prizes. They're fine to have, and they are certainly worth investing time and energy in getting, but they are short-term investments. Developing good character is far more important. Children learn more from what they see than from what they hear. While this is true in all areas of life, it is especially true in the home, where they observe every word and deed. This learning by children is caught, not taught, so to speak, and happens anyway, whether we like it or not. My aim, therefore, as a Christian dad has been to nurture their hearts towards love for and service to God. This overall goal has shaped decisions that we've made as parents, among which the following stand out. If they can't obey their parents, if children can't obey their parents who they can see, they will not obey God who they can't see. Consequently, we placed a high premium on obedience while the children were very young. This requirement doesn't go away, obviously, as they get older, but there are fewer battles to fight if we are resolute on this issue during younger years. This was absolutely non-negotiable in our house. Instilling Bible reading habits in the children in younger years was part of the daily fixed routine of our home. If it's not important to us, it won't be important to them. And though there were many occasions when it would have been easier to skip this discipline, the practice was firmly established as a priority. Third, valuing the church as a place of service has always been a given. Attending church, and we have tried to do what is manageable, was established as a priority before we had children, and once they arrived, our core commitment to church remained unchanged. This is challenging though. There will always be loads to do at church, loads of calls on our time, and our children are only young once. However, our belief is that church family is family, and so that's how we've tried to live out our lives before them, not so much by explaining, but by doing. Fourth, the world is desperate to claim our children, but we're not going to stand by and let that happen. We want to invest in things that matter and things that count. So obviously we want that for our children too. It's tempting to get scared at the pervasiveness of the culture around us, at the way it bombards us, as Nigel was reminding us a minute or two ago. So sometimes blanket bans have been necessary, but it's also been important to take advantage of what we call teachable moments to point out the failings and shortcomings of that culture in which we're immersed and our instinctive tendencies towards idol worship and not God worship. Practically, then, there have been 3 steps that have been helpful in expressing my responsibilities. One, a few years ago, I established a routine on one Saturday of each month of taking one of the children out for breakfast. This routine is not, as you might think, an opportunity for a heart-to-heart, though one day it might be, but to establish a fixed point every 3 months to spend time with each of my children at their choice of breakfast serving establishment. No rocket science, no agenda, sometimes very, very quiet, but always being together.
1 minute, John.
2.
No, 1 minute.
One of the challenges I heard many times before I was up here was the question, do your children see you reading your Bible or hear you praying? We want to pray to be as natural, inverted commas, as possible. And one small way in which we tried to do that is praying with the children every day in the car on the way to school. Whatever issues are on their minds, and some that are on our minds, are the prayer points for that day. And this routine has helped to make it more natural when concerns have arisen in their lives to pray with them, and for the children to expect that to happen. And finally, returning to where I started, my distinct responsibility to my children is to love Fiona, their mother. The support, backing and endorsement that I give her and her decisions enables Fiona to carry out her responsibility with confidence and assurance of my support, and shows the children that we are together in the task of raising them. If I were asked for one piece of advice on this issue, I'd answer that children are best served by their father loving God, their mother and their children.